Okay, welcome back. Back to Ironsworn. And where we left off was that Ajla was there, Jurek was there, and now Jurek is gone. And these intros are probably going to get changed once I finally get to the recordings. But at least for right now, it's like how we start. Okay, so do you want to say what happened when Jurek, well, disappeared? What did Jurek experience?
Yeah, I think uh, maybe we're going to start with just a little flashback
Mm-hmm.
vignette to set the scene for the day.
Sure.
So, so we see some years back, a slightly younger, less grey Jurek in war gear. You know, he's in chainmail armor and carrying a shield and a sword, um, and with a group of similarly armed comrades, one of whom is Tavik, and one of whom is this character we introduced last time, or the concept of him last time, called Isru, who is another warrior, but someone who was born with some kind of elven lineage, so a half elven person, but born and grew up and raised in the Ironlands community alongside many other people in that warband, but with some connection to this other heritage that he shares. And we see the group of them on the edge of some woodland, and it seems as if there is some amount of negotiation going on somewhere. And an older, tough, brusque, commanding man kind of calls over, Isru, get over here. We need your expertise for this. And Jurek turns to Isru, who's been sitting next to, I guess he wants you to speak to your kin, huh, Isru? We're gonna talk our way through this. If it were up to me, I don't know. I'm not scared of whatever's going on in that forest. There's enough of us. Those things bleed just like a man does. But we'll be ready when your negotiations fail. And he kind of chuckles, and Isru gives him kind of a half smile and gets up to walk off to this commander, Shekar. And sometime later, yeah, we see the group begin to move, and they're moving into the forest. Some kind of deal has been struck, some kind of arrangement made, and they never see the elves who live in this forest. Consider this forest sacred space, but their presence is kind of always felt there. All of the warriors are on edge. They feel as though there are eyes on them the whole time, probably arrows aiming at them, and they're all trying to just kind of bluff it out and put on a brave face. But as the sunlight kind of escapes them as they move deeper into the forest, there's some real tension in the air. And I think that's at the point where we come back to Jurek in the present day, grabbed on the edge of the forest and hauled off with a blade at his throat. And before too long, something is wrapped around his head, something is thrown over his head, some kind of a hood or a, blindfold. And he keeps quiet, apart from the odd grunt or curse as he's dragged off into the woods. And he's surprised that his throat just wasn't slit right on the spot. That's what he would have expected of what he assumes to be a group of elves. He hears them speaking to one another in a language he can't understand. So he has some idea that that's what must be going on.
While that's happening, Ajla's on the edge of the forest, and she sees that figure with the wooden animal mask disappearing and receding into the braid canopy and the darkness beyond it. And she sighs. She loops the reins of the horses over their necks, and she will turn around. She looks up and down the edge of the canopy to see if there's a rock or if there's a stump that she can sit on. And she does what she has always done when she crosses too close to the territories, or she thinks to see if she's going to cross. She will find the nearest rock, stump, something natural to sit on with her back to the edge, with her back to the canopy. And then she will start to tell a story. This time, instead of telling a story about some legendary monster from across the world or something that's been made up from a fairy tale, she will actually start talking about what had happened the other night, about following these cultists, these blade worshippers, into the forest, into the Bolgham wilds, and how she came upon them and watched them almost run through one of their own, and her taking the sword for no reason that she can figure out, and that is the blade that she carries now. And as she's telling this story, she can hear some kind of whistling or moaning of wind through the branches. She thinks it's partially because of the way the braid canopy is formed, because this does not sound natural to anything that she's ever heard in the forest before, even when she has sat at the edge of the FirstBorn territories. And the horses remain actually quiet, stock still, almost as if they sense something wrong could happen to them if they moved out of line. They're not bothered by the sounds, amazingly enough. They just remain still, but she can see their ears flicking as she sits and tells the story. And when she gets to the part of resting for that night at camp by the stream, she sees, even in the twilight of the afternoon, as the sun is setting, she sees a shadow in her peripheral vision. And as she turns to look, she sees a dark shadow, a large weapon, and then darkness as she knows no more. Where do you think that Jurek is taken?
I think eventually he is shoved down roughly onto the ground on his knees, and the sack or whatever is pulled off his head, and he finds himself in a clearing in the woods. There is the remains of a campfire. There are signs of, some people have been here for a little while, a few days perhaps. And looking straight at him is this masked figure who has just pulled the blindfold off his head, and they back slightly away and say something Jurek can't understand. And another figure steps around him from behind him, also masked. But squats down in front of him on his haunches and pulls the mask aside. And Jurek recognizes that this is Isru, his former comrade. And Isru says, Jurek, an odd place to run into you again. Jurek says, I suppose I've you to thank that my throat's not slit. Isru gives a little smile and nods. I suppose I had some part in that, yes. Trespassers are not normally treated so leniently. Well, what is it you want with me? Are you going to dig me a grave, or are you going to let me go? And Isru gives him a kind of penetrating glance and then turns to talk to his comrade in their language. And they seem to be having a slightly heated discussion back and forth. Jurek imagines that they're talking about what to do with him, but it's not really clear what is going on. Apart from the fact that, his hands are tied behind his back, he's pushed to his knees, and where his weapons have gone, who can say?
I think at this point, there is a soft tread with what sounds like the stump of wood. So it's an alternating kind of step. And into the clearing behind Isru and his companion, steps what looks like a shorter, younger figure. The mask that the figure wears looks like a young boy with antlers. And then this figure is wearing long tunic and breeches and boots, probably of the hides of and furs of the animals they've hunted. And this figure is walking with a cane. Well, I should say a staff. Really. It's taller than him, again, because it looks like the mask of a young boy, but done up in this weird, flexible wood. And the two, upon seeing this figure, make a little obeisance where they turn away from you and each other, and they will turn to this figure and bow a little bit. And this figure stumps into the clearing to get closer between them, and then gets closer to you, Jurek, and looks into your face. Can't see eyes. The hollows of this mask are too deep for that. But the weird flexibility of this mask allows it to have the mouth somewhat creak open. And you hear, issuing from this mask, is a voice. Can you understand me? You're on mute.
Well enough.
Good. I don't know this language as well as my own, but it serves. Isru says he knows you.
Aye, that's so.
Why did you cross the canopy?
I was chasing my damn horse. I didn't intend any offense.
But you know. You saw. And you were with the woman who knows this.
Jurek's eyes narrow at that, wondering what this person means by that. Where is she? Did you take her too?
She is with us.
With you?
Do you know what she is?
Jurek takes a moment, figuring out how to respond to that. I know that if you've hurt her, I won't leave this place quietly.
The figure doesn't say anything. What he will do is turn away, and he motions to Isru and his comrade to lead you up and to follow this figure out from this particular clearing, deeper into the canopy. one of them will put the blindfold back onto your head. And when they do, you feel a strange drop or separation in your body when you take a few steps. It is almost as if you have left part of your body behind, and it is taking a few seconds to catch up to your present form moving in space. You hear, with the blindfold, when you enter into another space, you hear shrieks, or at least muffled shrieking. And as you get closer, as they lead you closer to this, you can tell that it's, well, it's not Ajla. Because you can hear, it's sort of in that accented gibberish that you heard Vess speak the other night. And she is swearing up a storm. Let me out! I'm not here for anything. I just want to be out. Now! And when you're finally in the same space, they will whip the blindfold off your head. And what you see is Ajla down on the ground. She's has her arms tied behind her back, and she's kneeling with two other figures, masked figures, alongside her. And she is just furiously screaming at them, but they are not paying her any mind. They are paying attention only to the short figure of the masked young boy.
Jurek just kind of mutters a curse under his breath when he sees that this is probably Vess and not Ajla.
You're close enough that you can sort of see the glint of Vess's silver eyes, and not Ajla's dark ones. The young boy with antlers will turn to you and say from the hollow of the mask, "This is a corruption of nature." You see the sword. You see the, do you want to call it the Vess blade? I don't know. The spirit blade. You actually see it lying on a stump further away than all of you.
Isru, what's going on?
He sighs. And he just looks at you and says, "The elder," and he gestures to the antlered young boy. "The elder seems to think that you brought her here to be a mockery of them.
You know, we were just passing by. We didn't intend to cross your lands.
I wish I could believe you. I mean, this seems too fortuitous to be an accident.
Come on, Isru. You know me. I'm not an idiot. What would I want to be here for? Why would I want to be seeking trouble here?
Because you're trying to discover the secrets of the ancestors? Maybe?
Oh. Isru, that was ever your thing. I'm a simple man. I don't know anything about ancestors or secrets. By the gods, man, I've been sharpening blades and mending horseshoes for the past couple of years.
Why? You were named. Just like me. Just like Tavik. Why?
I might as well ask you why you were here. I got sick of it, Isru.
I still serve them. In my own way. Not Shekar's warband, but my people. They've accepted me here. Did you not find a place to accept you?
I suppose you could say I'm still looking, but trust me. You leave me buried in a shallow grave here, I'm not going to find much of anything.
I know that. But you being with her, that it
You know who
brings
she is, Isru?
What?
You know who she is?
No.
That's Tavik's sister.
What?
That's why I'm with her. She's in trouble, and I'm trying to see her safe out of it.
That is Tavik's sister?
All right. And I think here I'm kind of going for a secure and advantage move.
Okay.
I'm trying to kind of get him a bit around him to our side.
Okay. And you're rolling against?
I think I'm rolling with heart because it says with charm, loyalty, or courage. I think I'm trying to demonstrate here some loyalty. So,
Sure.
The reason I'm helping Ajla is because of Tavik, who is also a comrade of. Let's see how this goes.
Okay.
I roll a 5. That's a good start. I roll a 5. What is my heart? I've gotten. I think it's a weak hit. My heart
2.
is 2. So I have a 7 versus a 7 and a 2. So indeed a weak hit.
And that gets you what?
That gets me. You gain some advantage. Choose one. Take control. Make another move now, not a progress move, and add +1, or prepare to act. Take +2 momentum. I think I'm going to take that +2 momentum. I think that what that represents is kind of me, putting the guilt on Isru a little bit. That, he and I fought side by side. We probably owe each other our lives as many times as you care to count. And the same goes to Tavik. And yeah, I'm just kind of preparing for the possibility that I might need to leverage that connection with him in order to get out of this situation. So that brings my momentum up to 8, which is decent.
Okay. So while you're having this conversation with Isru and you're letting him know that this is Tavik's sister, Vess is being very vocal, and the antlered boy is getting very annoyed. And finally he says, "You will be silent." And he flings the hand that's not holding the staff, and all of a sudden there looks to be vines wrapping from behind Vess and around her mouth. And her silver eyes just widen, and she frowns, and she's just... You can hear the muffled swears behind it. But she is more silent than she was before.
And I think Jurek will call over to her. Calm down. We're not going to get out of this, but fighting our way out with both of us tied up like this.
Her shoulders heave, and her chest heaves with frustration and anger, but at your words, she'll just calm down and look very sullen. And just stop struggling. Especially now that she's not able to yell. And Isru turns back to you and says, "Among my people, we have the elders, like this one." And he gestures to the young boy. "They are born like this. They are born with the spirit of an ancestor inside them, as ancient of an ancestor as we understand. And they are born with the wisdom of the people. This one believes that you brought this corruption to insult them."
Isru, listen to me. I know it doesn't look good. Whoever that is in Ajla's body is not her. That's something to do with that sword. And what we are aiming to do is to find out what's going on and how we can stop it, how we can free her from this. She took that sword from a group of, what did we call the blade cult? I've forgotten the name now. Something of the Iron Blade, was it? Pact of the Iron Blade, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, to be honest, we didn't actually name it in
I don't think we did, no.
not in the episode itself. It's like it was just something you came up with, like outside of the episode, which is fine. I mean, name it what you want now.
She took that blade from some of those Iron Pact fools. You remember them?
Yes.
Half the warband was in that little society.
But that wasn't serious, though. They just, well, they would tilt their little daggers at each other and have a drink more often than not. They didn't do anything serious.
That's what I thought, but believe me, Israel, I saw with my own eyes they had that sword and they were preparing to run someone through with it. Someone who seemed quite willing to go through with the plan. I don't know what it was about, but Ajla stopped it, and ever since then, that sword got its hooks into her. I don't know what it means. I don't know how to stop it, but
The
stopping
antlered,
it is our goal.
the antlered young boy The mask turns to you as you're talking to Isru and is listening. And he will reach out with, you can see under the tunic, it's a young arm. It is the arm of a young boy. And he will say, "So this was not the intended. That changes things."
Don't you think that if we'd intended some insult or some conflict with you folks, we'd have been a little more prepared?
I have seen so many of your people do things without forethought, and they call it a plan.
Well, that's probably fair, but she and I don't have much of a plan. But as far as it goes, is we're trying to get to Rimerun. There's someone there, she said, might be able to help us understand something more about this blade, and that's all we're doing here. Tell him it's true.
He mutters something in their language to the elder, and the elder nods. And then the elder turns to you, Jurek, and says, "It sounds as if your friend became the intended, where this other person was supposed to accept the spirit of the blade."
Aye. And you might like to ask some questions about what they intended with that.
Do you know about this spirit?
I've talked to it once. I fought with it. I don't know much. But it can be reasoned with.
Let's see. And the elder will turn back to Vess, who is still kneeling and looking sullen. But she looks up at this figure with defiance and trembles when he reaches out with his young hand and places it on her forehead. And she's looking up and over, and then soon those silver eyes will roll back into her head until the whites are showing. And you can see a visible pain, frustration, screaming behind the vines that are covering Vess's mouth, as if she's reliving something, she's experiencing something again in her own head. And this all takes just seconds, and then before you know it, she keels over and slumps on the ground. And the antlered figure will turn back to you, Jurek, and say, she was brought back to lead.
Lead what? What have you done to her?
I have done nothing. I speak the language of the spirits. All spirits know it. She was not speaking to me. She was remembering what was promised to her.
And what is that?
I don't know. If she chooses to tell you, that is up to her. But she was going to be brought back. To lead in some great battle. And this is when the figure will hobble over to you, stumping with its staff. And then will rap you quickly on the head with said staff, which is as tall as you are. You have found yourself. Your friend has found herself in a complex situation.
Aye, I'd figured that much out.
Talk to the lawkeeper in Rimerun. He might have something to say. I cannot tell you how to break the binding. We do not break this binding. We are here together in the same body, in agreement. And this is where the young boy will speak up and say, and this is quite true. I live with the spirit of this ancestor, and he helps me, and he helps the rest of the people here.
And this is what's happened to her?
The spirit comes back. Yes, but this spirit is not cooperating. I don't know if she ever will.
I don't know that Ajla wants her to. We want to break this binding. Undo this.
But the ancestors have a lot to say. They have things that they can show us. They have things that they can teach us.
Oh, maybe so, but doesn't mean I want one living in my head.
this one is only able to be awake when your friend is asleep. Whereas I can come out when I want because I'm talking to my ancestor.
Well, that seems like a tidy arrangement you have there, but I don't think Ajla has the same luxury.
True.
Now, are you going to let us go?
The antlered elder will motion to Isru and the other comrade that was with him to go further off into the clearing and look at the blade itself, leaving you being watched by the two that were flanking, well, now, Ves, Ajla, unconscious on the ground with the vines wrapped around her face, her mouth. What do you do?
Yeah, I think Jurek's still just on his knees there and he tries to shuffle a bit closer to Ajla. Ajla,
You can
are you
see
awake?
you can see a little bit of movement as like she frowns a little and you can see her face stir and her eyes flutter open. And she starts to try to say something and then realizes there's something around her mouth and she can't. And she just like blinks and then looks at you with these eyes saying, "What the hell?" Like her eyes are wide and just questioning what's going on. And she sees the two figures. They're also masked, by the way. The only one that wasn't was Isru, I guess, who took off his mask. And she's just, again, gone completely wide with her eyes. And she is staying as still as she possibly can, down on the ground, laying on her side, looking at you.
I'm getting us out of this. Just sit tight. And don't do anything rash.
And she's just, even on her side, she's kind of like raising her shoulders like, what the heck am I going to do? And the, Isru, the elder, and the companion come back. And Isru is carrying the sword. Very gingerly. He's not willing to get cut or anything by that blade. And actually, it still has the sheath around it. Because, yeah, Ajla hadn't taken it out since Ves had put it in to the sheath, so it should still be sheathed. But still, he's treating it like, I mean, if he's got gloves, he's definitely wearing them for this. And he turns to you, Jurek, and helps you up. You have a journey ahead of you, my friend. This is not going to be solved in Rimerun. I hope you know that.
Never is it? Seems like there's no such thing as an easy life. For the likes of us, anyway.
It's by choice, isn't it? It's always been by choice. You can't say that it's been an accident this whole time, that you have fallen in with Shekar, or us, or just any of it. And he gives you a little smile.
When I fell in with Shekar, I was not much more than a kid with his head full of stories of glory and war. It didn't turn out much like there was much glory in it that I recall.
No. In the end, it became about, well, the killing and the blade. But regardless of that, there's always a purpose. And it is up to you to decide what purpose, what direction you want to point. I can turn you to the north, but that doesn't mean you're going to walk there.
When did you get so philosophical, Isru? You've changed as much as I have.
Shekar called me the owl. Remember, they can turn their heads around all the way.
Huh.
Maybe I have done so in the years that have passed. It is good
Maybe
to
so.
see you, old friend.
I wish I could say the same. This is not the circumstances I would have chosen for us to meet again, but you get me out of here and I'll consider it good to see you too.
Always with the bargain. Huh. Interesting.
It comes to you and your friends here having me tied up, ready to slit my throat, and then I'm going to do some bargaining.
You are treated well, I can't say that. He puts his hands together after handing the sword point down to his companion. This isn't a matter of bargaining anymore. You were spared the usual treatment of trespassers because I knew you. On my word alone, they were willing to spare you. I have come up among my people, Jurek. And he straightens his stance and looks at you with the full bore of his gaze. I have learned much coming back to this place, and I lead them as best as I can. Perhaps the hawk needs to find his focus again.
Perhaps. I suppose I was only ever very good at one thing. And I think Ajla needs my help, so I might as well make myself useful while I still can. Now,
This Ajla, do you only do it because of Tavik?
I owe him debt that I can never pay.
He's dead, Jurek.
I know that better than anyone.
My people believe in the ancestors. Obviously. He gestures with his head to the elder. But debts can no longer be carried by the dead. Is this something you want to carry into your life? You don't owe Tavik anything.
I don't think this is something I can set aside, Isru. So now, if we're done talking, you can cut this rope anytime you like, and I'll be on my way with Ajla.
He smirks, and he gestures to his companion to give him back the sword. Again, holding it gingerly. And he looks down at Ajla, who is very much awake and wide-eyed at all of this. And again, staying as stock still as she can so she doesn't seem like she's threatening anything at all. And he gestures with a chin jut to the two that were flanking her, and they help her up, although she's still tied behind her back and her mouth is still covered by the vines. Isru turns back to you. We will need to lead you back out of the canopy. You will need to be covered again before you can leave. The horses are awaiting you outside in the forest. I obviously cannot convince you that it is a good idea to leave well enough alone. So I won't. I will let the hawk focus on whatever he thinks he's chasing. And I will leave you to pay your debt to Tavik's memory, because...
What would you have me do, Isru? Would you have me just leave her to deal with it by herself?
Yes, I would. You do not owe Tavik anything. You do not owe his sister anything.
And what chance has she got by herself? Not a good one, I don't think. I'm kind of angling for a test your bond move here. That, you know, this is some conflict between Isra and me.
Okay.
So with that, I'm going to roll plus hard.
Okay.
Oh, I rolled a 7 versus a 4 and a 1.
Nice.
So I have a strong hit on the test of my bond. So this test has strengthened your bond. Choose one. Take +1 spirit or take +2 momentum. I think my spirit's
You're
all out
4.
at the moment.
4 out of 5.
Oh, okay. Interesting.
That's up to you. I mean, you get yourself
think
up to
I'm
10, so, I mean, for
Yeah.
momentum, if you want.
I think I'm going to do that. I'm going to store up some momentum and use that
Okay.
appropriately.
How do you think that you see this narratively, that you've strengthened your bond, even though he seems like he's trying to convince you that this is not a good idea to go with this woman?
I think he's proved that he's not just going to leave her. He's proved some kind of quality of loyalty, even if Isru thinks it's misguided or too much, misguided or misdirected. But he's proven that he's not just going to walk away from someone who needs him. So that may lead Isru to think at some point in the future that he could rely on Jurek as well.
Yeah. So he takes a searching look at your face yet again, and sees the resolve. And then he will turn back to his companions and gesture with a head nod. And they will cover your face again, Jurek. Just as they are pulling the cover over your face, you can see they are doing the same with Ajla. And then you will feel that as they're leading you, you will feel that drop and that separation again with your body before you find yourself. It feels cooler now. You can feel like night damp, like night dew, and then the covers are whisked from your face, and you find yourselves facing the horses in the forest with shafts of moonlight shining down, and then the sky is dark and purple with little dots of stars beyond the moonlight, and the horses are just waiting. And you see, if you turn, you see Ajla next to you, blinking. And you don't see any sign of any of the elves, of any of the FirstBorn behind you. You just see the canopy, the braided canopy, thicker than ever.
Best we don't look back, Ajla. Come. Let's be on our way.
I wasn't planning on it. And you can see strapped to her back is the sword. I guess we continue to ride then.
I guess we do.
So you mount the horses and then you continue onward. I mean, a little bit more carefully now that it's nighttime. And I think this is a good time for like a 5-minute break so we can,
Yep.
Get a drink and such. I will read back at 19 mark, according to my clock. Alrighty. See you then. So I'm going to say that before we totally get kicked out of the canopy, that you had the opportunity in all this to ask some questions, and we're going to have you use the gather information move, and then see. You have to roll with wits, and then see.
A roll with wits. Am I getting the bonus for having a bond, given that Isru was there?
I'm gonna say yes, because you would have most likely asked questions of him.
Like, kind of through him, yeah.
Yeah.
Or at least his influence is likely to be present in terms of whether they're willing to. So my wits is only 1, but with a bond bonus, that'll be 2 as well.
Okay.
So, and unfortunately, that's not looking so good. I rolled a 4 and I rolled a double 6 on the challenge dice, so that's a miss and a miss with a match. Your investigation unearths a dire threat or reveals an unwelcome truth that undermines your quest.
Oh
Pay the
shit.
price.
Well, I did ask for it. Okay, great.
Yep. So is this
Hmm.
is this
Let's.
a dire threat in terms of kind of some kind of revelation about I liked the direction you were going with the idea that like Vess was being brought back by the Iron Pact for
Mhm.
some kind of purpose.
Yeah.
Like they were preparing a vessel for her.
Mm-hmm.
So
Well,
does this, is this a dire threat in terms of that revelation that, this Iron Pact cult is way more serious, and obviously there's some kind of broader conspiracy at play here.
yes.
Conspiracy might
I'm.
not be
I'm gonna
exactly the right
say
word.
so. I mean, remembering what I put on the random table in our character keeper. Hold on. Let's see. Destinations. Yeah. There's a couple of things that are in play here that could cross our path, throw obstacles in our way, or be just, oh crap, we got to deal with this. Yeah, there's like one of the ones that I have is that there is a community of the Blades of the Iron Pact who are zealots.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Mm-hmm.
you know, they want the blade for themselves.
Right.
And
Yeah, I
so,
definitely get the impression that that's the kind of thing they were up to, right?
yeah, they had this
There's
shaky
some greater.
idea. Yeah, they had this shaky idea that they were going to do it because this is a story that has probably been passed down within the cult for a very, very, very long time, obviously, since Vess was actually alive. And so, their idea was to bring her back, bring her prowess back, to lead them towards something. Um, yeah. Now, how we want to play that into the current. Um,
Yeah, it feels like the appropriate thing is there that does it make sense that we have to just be that they're kind of obviously going to be extremely concerned with getting this blade back. That's like
yeah. I mean,
all that they want. Um,
yeah,
it's
because I
not.
mean, they don't necessarily know that the spirit is no longer in the blade.
Yeah,
um,
or maybe there's a question of whether it is like, is it something that comes out of the blade every time it takes over Ajla, or is it bonded to her more permanently? Or there's a whole bunch of questions there.
well, remember what she said last time, which I am so sorry because I didn't let you listen to it before. But she basically said she was not quite in the blade. So, and anytime that
Yeah,
Ajla is unconscious, basically, there you are. Um, there is a bond there. That is the spirit. That is the nature of the spirit blade. Um, at this point, um, do you? I mean, because you had a miss on the gather information, do
mm.
you want to roll, or do you want to figure out how you want to do pay the price, because that is
Yeah,
the
let's.
consequence of your miss.
Right.
especially like
It's
especially for a double, like like
yeah,
the
it's got to be
match.
something really significant. Like this is like a kind of world shaking.
Yeah.
um
So choose one. You
yeah
can.
um
We had this problem before, so it's like there's just so
right
much good stuff to choose from.
hmm, Here's an interesting one. See what you think about this.
Yeah.
A personal community you care about is exposed to danger, which could be that. What I'm thinking of here is that when we get to Rimerun or further on, what was Ajla's hometown again? I've forgotten the name of it, but
Aldrich.
yeah, that maybe if if the Iron Pact have got figured out something about who she is, has like traced us far enough to be able to then question someone. I mean, have they figured out where she's from and they put that town under threat?
Yeah.
In some way.
I mean, I'm sure that night there were some of the Blade cult that were at the Great Hall in Carthus, and they were listening to Ajla introduce herself as from Aldrich.
Yeah,
so
right.
she was like, she's got her brands and she's going to market it, and nobody's going to miss that, So, I mean, they could just as easily try to trace her back to her home village and then see what happened. See if anybody knows where she is now. But,
Yeah, so I think
we could hold that, and then
I think we could put that in play, and then like at some point we find out, or or if we end up going there, we find, that they're already there's already been damage done once we get there, or they're already there, or have been there, or something like that. Yeah. So
no, I
think that seems pretty good. Okay, good.
Okay, so
that's an exciting result from a miss.
Aldrich is a target.
Yeah. Or we could always switch it up to be something else as well, if that also makes sense.
Well, I mean, we don't really know where Jurek's from.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, we can certainly define a community that he's from as well, and
or maybe this is one of the reasons why you feel like you need to go back to Whitecarn.
Yep.
So that's a possibility as well.
Cool.
It wouldn't be beyond the pale to think that somehow, if he's really that interested, Isru would get a message to you somehow via bird or something, and let you know that Whitecarn is experiencing something, because maybe he still has like negotiable ties with Shekar. So
yeah, for sure. I think there's still some kind of connection there.
So at this point, when we are in the midst of, it's nighttime, we are riding. Ajla will she's silent for a little bit, but then she will, they knocked me out. I didn't see what happened after I was telling the story of, well, what's been happening to us. And I got brought into the I guess their land? I mean, I just woke up, tied up, and, unable to speak. Did you get anything from them? Did they say anything to you?
Nothing much that made a lot of sense to me, or nothing much that you hadn't already put together. Whatever that spirit is in that sword you picked up, seems like it's in you now. And those elves, they were not impressed with that arrangement. A corruption, they called it. And I think the only reason I managed to talk them into letting us go was they want us to put an end to it.
But what does that mean? I mean, I guess not mortally to me yet, because they didn't slay me on the spot, so that's a good thing. Um,
Aye, it is.
but they didn't kill you right away. I know that's how they deal with trespassers off the bat. Why
Well,
did they spare
it
you?
seems it seems luck was on my side. One of them was a man named Isru, and he was a comrade of Tavik and mine, and we always knew he was, or he always told us he was half elf. I don't know that I knew what to make of that at the time, but it seems he's with them now.
Did he look any different? I mean, like, was he. Did he look
He,
the same?
he was dressed like them, and he was wearing one of those masks. But I recognized him right off as soon as he took it off. It was definitely him.
Hmm.
I don't know what kind of luck is looking down on me, that of all the people who could have found me, it was him, but I think we could thank him for us being this side of the mud.
Huh. Again, I ask you, and she's not looking at you. Are you sure you want to do this? I mean,
Why is everyone asking me that today? I'm not going to leave you to deal with this on your own, so you can forget that. For what it's worth, I owe your brother enough that I'll see you safe out of this.
what did he do? I mean, if
He
any.
and I, he and I fought side by side for, I don't know, 4 years, 5 years. I don't know how many times he stopped an arrow or a blade from putting me in the ground. And I guess I could say the same for him, but in the end, I wasn't there at the one time it mattered.
So you didn't see him die?
Oh, I saw him die, but I wasn't there when he took the wound that killed him. Anyway, come on. I don't want to think about how close those Dag's men might be behind us. Let's get moving.
True, okay.
Do you think at this point a justification could be made for the two of us forging a bond? Given how, I'm thinking of the fact that Jurek has just kind of said, he's not going to stop asking me if I really want to do this. I'm not going to leave you to deal with it by yourself. So that.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. It's a combo between like standing together to face hardship and then making sacrifices for the cause. And
Right. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
sure. Now, is it just one person or both people do it?
Yeah, that's a good question.
I don't understand how that goes.
Yeah. That's relationship moves. I'm just going to look this up real quick. Forge a bond.
Yeah.
Bonds can also be made between allies. One of you makes the move, and both of you may mark the bond on a hit. If you score a weak hit, your ally may decide what they ask of you. On a miss, something still stand between you.
Okay.
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 So, which of
Sounds
us wants to roll here?
Um,
I feel like narratively it makes sense for me to roll, and I'm just a little bit aware that you haven't got to roll any dice today. But
no, I mean, when has it ever been a deal of me wanting to use the shiny math rocks? Never.
okay. All right, I'm going to do this then. So I'm rolling plus heart.
Okay.
And let's see what we get here. So that's a 5 versus a 6 and a 2. So that's a weak hit.
Okay. They asked
But
something more. Okay.
it's a weak hit, or I can burn momentum to turn it into a strong hit because I've got 10 momentum and I could kill that.
Is that what
Kill
you
that
want to
6
do?
challenge does. I don't know. Unless you. So you're going to. The alternative is you kind of ask something of me.
Vision, what it
If
is.
you have something in mind for that, I'm happy to go with the weak hit. Otherwise, I'm happy to burn momentum.
Hold on, let me see. Let me see what it involves first. I haven't read the whole
Mm-hmm.
thing. On a weak hit, they ask something more of you first. Envision what it is. Ask the oracle if unsure. Do it, or swear an iron vow, and mark the bond. If you refuse or fail, pay the price. Okay.
Hmm.
I mean, narratively, I can see that because I can see, like, you know how like the choose your own adventure books like make you turn the page and shit. I always put my finger on the page.
Yeah, of course.
The one page would say that she asks you to. She asks you to break the vow and leave her to deal with it.
Hmm.
And of course, that page ends ends there for your character, which sucks. No, we don't want to do that. I mean, if you think this is a good time to burn that momentum, now because your momentum's all the way up to 10, do
Yeah.
you only burn enough that it gets
No,
you
you
to 7, or you
you
have to
always
burn it
burn.
all?
You have to burn all of it down to 2,
Shit.
whatever to your reset. I mean, momentum is easy come, easy go. I'm good with doing that.
Sure, I mean,
It feels kind of narratively appropriate to me that she's going to start to grudgingly trust him a little bit.
no, I mean, I can see that, but
I think she obviously still has questions about, yeah.
yeah. I
Or
mean,
maybe,
that's,
that could also be the complication is like she could demand that he tell her what happened to, I don't know, Tavik.
yeah, that would be a reasonable demand, I would say. I mean, why? I mean, yeah, you were comrades. You were in battle for 4 to 5 years. And that's a lengthy piece of time, but I mean, considering like our ages at this point, you know, in our 40s and stuff like that. I mean, how long were you sharpening knives and mending shoe horses before you and Ajla met? So, I mean,
Yeah, a few years, but not, yeah,
I
so
mean,
long.
yeah. Well,
Or maybe another.
enough to build up a cart and
Mhm.
like eking out a business, but not like
Right.
quite. I mean, again, it's either you intimidating people to give you money or just being just able to get by because people feel sorry for you. I mean, it's one of those or both of those things happening at the same time. Um, but yeah, I mean, she'd want to know. Especially because you kind of glossed over it when you had that ring.
Hmm.
And she will. She will say directly. So here's the complication. She will ask you directly, I want to know, Jurek. I want to know what makes a man feel like he owes his comrade so deeply and so strongly that he is willing to keep a vow, a promise beyond death. I mean, that's a story. That's a story I don't know. And I would like to.
Oh, Ajla. Tavik and I we were close. We fought together, killed together, did some pretty bad things together. But he saved my life, and I saved his. And more times than I know how to count. And then there was that last time. Well, we were separated, he and I, out on patrol. And the first I heard of it was him shouting. Another time I got to him, he was on the ground with an arrow in his chest. Now, I did my best to drag him along with me. But I couldn't carry him all that way. And I couldn't drag him fast enough, I suppose. And he didn't make it. And I asked myself if he and I had stood together at that moment, would have I been able to stop that arrow? If we'd been closer to our warband, would I have been able to carry him back? But I didn't, and I couldn't. And there it is. Besides, you saw that card of mine. You saw I've been making a living. I don't think it's what I'm cut out for. What else am I supposed to do than come with you and get into a heap of trouble?
You could have stayed with the warband, though. I mean, not to be blunt, but I mean, one more warrior dead is not necessarily something that they would concern themselves about, I'm sure. So, why
There
not
comes a time,
stay?
though. There comes a time, though, when you ask yourself what you're doing and what you're doing it for and who you're doing it to. And I don't think I much like the answers to those questions. So I decided to walk away and try and do something better with my life than raiding villages and fighting other war bands. And it's a young man's life anyway. I was getting too old, losing my edge. Now, come on. Are we moving on or are we staying here and
No,
waiting for them to catch up with us?
no, we're moving on. I just needed to know.
I understand.
Do we want to say at this point there is a...
I guess the question is Ajla satisfied with the answer he gave or the explanation he gave?
This leads into the complication of her own personality.
That she wants a story to tell.
No, that's only part of it. The other part of it is like, why she's been alone for this long.
Mm.
So, that's funny that you talk about purpose. Like as you're moving along again. Avoiding the roads. Trying to go through the forest and the brush. Leaving the village was fun. Making my way and being able to tell stories for people. Help them feel like they're part of one. And let them know what others were dreaming about, or talking about, or telling about. I just wanted to have fun back then. But there was a part of me that did wonder if maybe I'd be better off settling in a bigger town and entertaining, regaling people with my stories, finding out about others in, well, a place where travelers would come and they would come to me and let me know what was going on, that I can pass along their stories as they went along their own way. And maybe I thought at one point I could settle. And I met someone who professed to like stories. He had so many books in his tower, so many tales that he would tell by reading aloud at the fire. Sometimes he would share them. He would come down to the village. He would come down to the town and make it an event where he would pick a particular story for that evening, and he would read aloud and There were people that were entertained. I was one of them in my travels. And here she stops and thinks. At one point I thought I would stay there for a long time, and that would be okay. And he asked me to stay. So much so that he gave me a ring. And asked me to stay with him. But then, it wasn't enough that I would stay in the town. It had to be where I would no longer be able to help entertain the community. It would be where I would no longer be able to hear stories from others, or at least without a lot of questions asked about where and when and who I was with. And it became more of needing to stay in his beautiful white tower, always. Just him and I, together. And I couldn't do that. I could not do that for years on end. I could see it almost as one of my stories, the kind that I would say, that I would tell, almost as a cautionary tale. Don't do this, because then you're trapped. And so I ran. I ran away for a very, very long time. And I have not been back since. But we're going back now.
Probably an expert on the subject, but if you ask me, anyone who wants that of you or expects that of you is not worth sticking around.
At the end, he said that I should be with him all the time, share the tower, and have children to fill the tower, his children. And she kind of mutters this, but you do hear it, but she doesn't necessarily mean for you to hear it. His children, even though I couldn't have any of my own.
Yeah, I think Jurek doesn't make any comment to that if he did even hear it. Just, yeah, listens.
She says a little bit more brightly, so I guess we're on our way and nearby. I mean, Some people might remember me, I guess, from when I was there so long ago. I mean, the innkeeper was nice.
Well, that
Gavros was,
seems welcome news.
yeah. I mean, at the very least, I mean, if Gavros is still there, and then it should be fine. Yeah, it should be fine.
Well, then, let's be on our way.
Yep.
Okay. Housekeeping wise, are we counting this bond? Do we think we?
Yeah, I think we can. I think we can.
Yeah. We got the week hit. We got the. All right, so you can go up to 1 tick on your bonds track.
Okay, let's see.
And yeah, if you, as we establish like background bonds, we'll just add those. You also like tick for those. So I added one for Isru.
Okay.
I should probably write these bonds down somewhere.
Relationship moves. There's stuff under the. Is that under progress tracks? I guess you can conceivably even make those bond tracks as well. I guess. I mean.
Well, I don't think you
do
need
they
to,
go for ticks and
yeah.
progress?
No, you don't.
I
You
mean,
just like remember that they're there, so that if they ever come into play, where you would add a bonus to a roll or something. But yeah, so I'll make a sheet of those in a bit.
Okay, that's fine.
We haven't got enough that we're in danger of losing track of them at the moment.
It's like with each other, and then like one that you've got, with the elven person. So, do we need to do anything in terms of like a waypoint or something?
Yeah, I think the fact that I think we failed the roll on the journey, which was why we got into the whole situation with the elves in the first place. So, but do we think like we made any progress on the vows here? I feel like I'm going to argue that I am going to put a tick on this making peace with Tavik, because the fact of like talking to Isru and Ajla about it.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Okay, so that is an extreme. So like 2 ticks for, which thinks that brings me up to progress 1.
Okay.
On that quest. Breaking the blade binding. I feel like you can probably make a check there that we found something out, right?
Yes. So what do you think? 1 tick?
Yeah, I think it's always just 1, right? Because it's epic. So.
Okay.
And maybe we mark progress on the getting safe to Rimerun.
Now, is it like progress or is it a tick? I forget.
Oh, for these, because we marked them as dangerous.
Yes.
Which is the lowest. I think we get 2 progress per. Let me just check.
Do we roll for that, or do we just mark it?
No,
okay,
you just decide. Like we reached a kind of milestone in the quest. So
okay, so 6.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then I think we can proceed with the journey. So we're at 3 out of 10 progress on the journey. So maybe we just make a roll for. You haven't rolled anything today. Go ahead and roll us a. What's the move called?
Yeah, what is the move called?
Something journey.
Hold on. No, that's not it. Poo. No, adventure. No.
I think it is an adventure move.
Okay, for each segment of the journey, roll plus wits.
Yep.
Okay, give me a second.
I think your wits are better.
Now, it's like if you are setting off from a community with you share a bond. Do I count that even though I'm rolling? Because like you have that bond with Isru.
Yeah, I don't know that it's a community though. I mean, I just have a bond with that one person in Isru, so I don't think that would apply.
Okay, that's fine. All right, so let's see.
Because you can bond with a community, as in like it can be your hometown or a
sure.
Yeah.
Okay, so do me a favor. I mean, like, totally out of character. Put the freaking picture in there because I can never put a picture in the character keeper.
Sure.
I'm miserable at that. I don't know why. Okay, sorry. Rolling with wits. Okay. All right, good. That's 2. All right, give me a second. Picking out which dice here. Oh God. Don't fail me now. Okay, so that's a 7 against a 5 and a 6. Thank goodness.
Oh, strong hit.
Okay, we reach a
Excellent
waypoint.
use.
What the waypoint is unknown to you, envision it. Ask the oracle
Yeah.
if unsure. Now, considerably, again, I mean, I've been building this random table that you seem to like to roll on random
Yeah.
tables if you want, or you could just pick from it. I don't care.
Or there's also
So
just like the random, I think there is like a random waypoint oracle in the, which
just
is, oh,
do.
got the wood
Okay, and
smelting thing
then
earlier. Anyway, should we mark, we're going to mark progress on this thing, right?
yes. So mark
So
progress. Go ahead.
we're going to go up to 6 on the progress track, the journey. And
Yeah, I think we can only pick the
lost.
one. So I mean, like, I think marking progress is fine.
I've lost that move again. Sorry.
Undertake a journey.
Oh, there it is. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
So on a strong hit, you reach a waypoint. The waypoint is unknown to you. Choose one. You make good use of your resources, mark progress, or you move at speed, mark progress, and take +1 momentum but suffer -1 supply. So
I don't think we're moving
need...
at speed. Well, I mean, are
No,
we?
I mean we're not lingering, but
But
unless
we're
you want the
not.
momentum.
Yeah, we're not galloping there. So I mean, like,
Right.
just mark a progress. I think that's fine.
Cool. Okay, and then we can like look at this waypoint thing. So I'm going to take a quick look at the waypoint oracle. Out of curiosity, let's get something random.
Ask the oracle. Let's see. That's at the bottom.
Scriptor.
Okay.
Oh, yeah, here we go. Oracle for location. All right. I'm going to roll a D100 and we'll see what we come up with here.
Okay. Wait, are we... Okay, so is Ask the Oracle the same for all of that? It's like...
No, there's like literally just an Oracle table that's like a D100 table of locations.
Okay, got it. All right. Ready? That looks like 39.
39 is a steading. In other words, like a small homestead of some kind.
Okay.
So I think we maybe come across a little outlying farm or something on the way to Rimerun.
Okay.
And yeah, I guess we've been riding through the night and maybe we come across that early in the morning, not long after the sun rises.
Yeah.
And, there's some smoke rising from a simple, one of those kind of like a building that's like grass roof. So there's like literally growing grass on the roof, and then there's a smoke hole in the middle with smoke coming out of it. And there's, maybe some animals tied up. Or the animals would probably be inside. Or, yeah, perhaps we see somebody bringing them out for the morning, some goats or something. And, yeah. How's our food supply looking? We should stop and ask for
fresh is better. I mean, if we can get something fresh, then that will make the rations last longer, just in case we have to, well, leave quickly from Rimerun. I'm not saying that I'm being doom and gloom about it. I'm just thinking practically, just in case.
Well, we have plenty in these saddlebags. We took off those.
Yes.
Off Dag and his men.
Yeah.
We have room for much more.
No, I wasn't.
We're at full supply, so.
Yeah. I wasn't. I mean, she's going to say, it's like, I wasn't thinking about, adding more to what we have. I was thinking just something fresh, at least once, before getting to possibly Rimerun would be nice.
Well, shall we say hello and see if we can't rest rest for the day here?
I would suggest well, we don't want to be threatening. I would suggest coming off of our horses and leading them in.
That seems like a good plan.
And this way we can also, well, leave the weapons on the horses. Unless you manage to snag some sort of belt or sling sheath or something like that from one of the horses and just use that, I guess. So we both look
No,
like we're more official, I
I think
suppose.
you're right. I think you're right.
I don't want to be, well, scary. Like maybe perhaps we were to that woodsman. So.
Okay, yeah, I think Jurek will climb down, stow his sword in kind of tucked into a saddlebag or, under a strap or something on the horse, and put on his best kind of grim looking smile. And
She just looks at you. Ajla just looks at you and says, Well,
what? You think you should do the talking?
I can. I just
Probably is for
looking
the
at
best.
you, just looking at you trying to, I guess, she tilts her head. I guess that's supposed to be a smile?
I think he just kind of frowns back.
Do you know how to relax your face?
Let's see what they think of us.
She'll go first.
Okay. Are we looking to? I feel like we're kind of securing an advantage here.
Okay.
Like we're, a place to see out the day and just get under cover.
Sure. That is
So,
fine.
roll plus charm, loyalty, or courage will be, yeah, I feel like that's the closest. Rolling plus heart.
Okay. Me or you?
You. I think if you're the one
Sure.
doing the talking.
Okay. Oops. Okay. All right, so getting back to the character sheet. So that's an 8 versus a 7 and a 4. Yay!
Outstanding.
Okay. All right, so 8. Gain advantage, choose 1. Make another move.
Make another
Not a
move
progress
now, not a
move.
progress. Well, we could always do the make camp move
Yeah,
and take a
yeah,
+1.
sure. That makes sense.
Yeah, so I guess these farm folk are welcoming enough for us.
Yes, I'd say so. And then they will be really like friendly enough that they hail us as if, we're just weary travelers, which we are. And then Ajla would just make like, we just want a place to rest a little and I guess get cleaned up. We've been riding during the night, and we just want to seek shelter for a little bit. We will not take up much of your time or resources. If you do need help, we can offer a little bit. Don't want to get in the way. And so they kind of take us up on it a little bit, like maybe we're like, supposed to help feed the animals or help clear
Chop some wood.
Yeah,
That
chop
kind of
some
thing.
wood instead.
Yeah.
Right. Mm-hmm. So we would roll supply, but we're good on supply. So since we really don't have to roll on supply, like, what would you say? Would we still treat it like, excuse me,
Well, you roll plus supply, so you roll +5. So it's a good advantage, and +1 because of that secure advantage.
Okay.
Unless you wanted to take the 2 momentum instead.
No, I should, shouldn't
You
I?
you could probably do with some momentum.
Yeah, I could. I'm gonna do that. Give me a second.
And then we can roll +5 for
Okay.
the make camp.
Makes sense. All right, give me a second. That is a 10 versus an 8 and a 3.
Perfect. A strong
Yes.
hit.
Okay.
We may each choose 2 from the list.
Okay, so let me see. What am I missing? Ba, 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 ba.
Yeah, I'm going to
Definitely taking
relax.
spirit.
So yeah, I'm going to relax. So that bumps my spirit back up to full.
And I will take a momentum.
I can't. I think what I'll do is prepare. So what that looks like, I think, is Jurek is kind of, talking to the farmer about which way it is to Rimerun and getting ready for setting off the next day, so that we can do that with a +1
Okay.
in the morning or in the evening. I guess if we're setting off, we're traveling by night.
Yeah, that sounds about right. So this way we can help them during the day. And I'm just gonna comment. It's like a requisite cat butt, requisite cat tail. I mean, if my
It's the
cat,
other cat now.
hey,
Yeah.
if it wasn't for the fact that my cat likes to chew on cords, I'd be all over it and have her be in the frames. So my sister's cat is way too clumsy to be around my booth. That everything would be knocked off. Um, so. Um,
Okay, so that's
so we've
So I guess
lined it
the
up
next
for.
morning or the next evening rather,
Yeah.
we're going to set off again.
Yep.
We're at 6 progress now. I think let's do another. Let's hope for another hit on the journey, and then.
Okay. Let me see.
So I'm going to roll plus wits and add +1 because of that bonus from the make camp. So that's a 7 versus a 6 and a 1. We are just rolling super well today. So
Will you
that's
stop? You just stop
okay. Yeah,
cursing us.
I've just cursed us. Yeah. So
And next time it'll be hell. All right. So what do we get?
So we got a strong hit. So we mark progress, and then we can reach another waypoint.
Okay.
So the progress is up to 9 now.
Okay, great.
So we can make. Yeah, I don't think we want to burn any supply to take extra momentum unless you particularly want to. But and I feel like at that point we can probably do the reach your destination move.
Okay. Let's see. Progress.
So with that we would roll the 2 challenge dice and compare it to our progress on the journey track, which is 9.
Okay. All right.
So you want to do that? Roll the 2
yes.
d10s and try and get 8 or below on both of them.
Okay. Wait. Challenge dice, not the action dice. Sorry.
Yeah, not the 6. Yeah, because the 6 is a fixed value. It's 9, which is our score on the progress track.
Yeah, that's helpful.
You got an 8 and you got a 9 and a 10, right?
I got a 4 and a 10.
No, well, that's a weak hit.
Okay, you arrive, but face an unforeseen hazard or complication. Oh, cliffhanger. Now I have to figure out what that is.
There is a. This is just.
Would you like to use the oracle?
There is a thing called a settlement trouble oracle that you can roll. That's like.
God, how many tables are in this thing?
Oh no, there's a lot. Yeah,
No wonder you're happy. I mean, just like
I mean, we could, unless there's anything that springs to mind.
I
What
no,
is it?
not at the moment because it's like I guarantee you, when we meet up with her acquaintance, it's gonna be
Bad
enough as it
enough,
is. Yeah.
right?
So
So,
please feel
all
free and
right.
roll on a table
Shall I roll this one?
if you want. Sure.
I got a 59, which
What does
is
that get us?
dark secret revealed. If that doesn't make any sense or nothing comes to mind, I can always
I
roll again.
mean, I mean, it's fun to think about. I guess. I mean,
My cat has moved the oracle off. There we go.
so a dark
So how
secret
about
is revealed.
or we could go with a 92, which is a roll twice. Okay, wonderful. And then I got a 39, which is Raiders Prey on the Weak.
Mm.
And a 59, which is that dark secret again. So
I mean, it's sounding like the dark secret's
yeah,
coming
the
up
dark
more
secret.
and more.
It wants
I'm
us
just
to
trying
have
to,
that, right?
well, but whose dark secret is it though? That's the
I think it's
question.
something to do with the settlement itself. So this is us arriving in Rimerun.
Yeah. Okay.
Um,
Interesting.
so I think with that,
Hmm.
while we're thinking about what that might mean, we can also mark progress on the vow to get to Rimerun. So
Okay.
that'll go to 8.
All right. So let's see.
And we could also do the progress move on those as well. The fulfill a vow move. Dark secret, dark secret.
I'm looking at my random table and seeing if anything comes to mind. Okay.
Yeah, or we could also always just do something completely different.
Yes. Dark secret. I should be looking more at these tables and just coming up with, oh, that's what that means. Okay. That's awesome. No, I love it. I'm like, wow, why am I running a blank at the moment? That's amazing.
Yeah, it is a tricky one to interpret that.
Yeah, it is. Because, I mean, again, because if it's about the community, it's like, or, I mean, conceivably, we could.
Is there something about? Could it potentially be something to do with the lawkeeper, whose name evades me now?
Gilrican.
Yeah, could it be something to do with him?
Yeah, I'm
Like
just.
maybe if he's a lawkeeper, he's reading scrolls and tomes and things, and has he unearthed something?
Yeah, you know what? That actually makes perfect sense because if he unearthed something even by accident, that means that's something that we have to deal with before
Right.
we can get any kind of answers from him.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
makes perfect
And
sense.
we could always tie it into like the Iron Priests or
Yes.
something. I don't know.
No, well, we haven't seen the Iron Priests since they burst into the clearing against the Iron Pact cult. So would be a really good opportunity to have him mucking about where he probably shouldn't be. But they trust his, like he has like some sort of connection with them, that maybe he's been dabbling, and
While we're thinking that over, I'm going to try and fulfill my vow to see Ajla to the Rhine Run.
okay, so you got to roll on this.
I have 8 progress on it, so
Oh,
I can
okay.
roll a challenge dice
Sure.
against that.
Okay.
I rolled a 1 and a 4. That's a strong hit.
Excellent. Okay.
So
And
your
that means what?
quest is complete.
Okay.
Your quest is complete. Mark experience
Oh,
according to the rank of the quest. So I believe that was a dangerous.
I think that's how we marked it.
Yes, that was dangerous. So I get 2 experience.
Nice.
It's off my head. I'm not sure what I can do with that right now, but oh, you can spend 2 experience to upgrade an asset or 3 experience to add a new asset.
Gotcha.
So I can have a look at my upgrades after we finish this session, and yeah.
Yep.
You
know what? I
you
haven't
could
been marking my progress at all. For
Yeah,
the...
no, I think you're also at 8, right? Because we kind of shared the.
Okay.
So if you wanted to complete that,
Sure. Let's see. Challenge dice. So that would be 8.
7 or lower on both of them.
All right. Not hard at all. That's a 4 and a 9. Let's see. Weak.
That's a weak hit.
There's more to be done, or you realize the truth of your quest. Oh shit. Oh shit. What? Oh no.
Well, this could. I mean, could this tie into? You still get 1 experience.
Okay.
I wonder if this could tie into. Yeah, is the thing you've got to do is to confront this guy from your past.
Oh, I'm sure. I mean, that is definitely one of the things that she's got to
That's
deal
almost
with.
like that's looming. That prospect is looming over you at the completion of this journey. So that's kind of what is turning that strong hit into a weak hit, maybe.
Yep, I will definitely say that is the case. I think when we come into the town, I think we make our way to the inn, and then Ajla will ask about Gavros. And Gavros is still there, but then he sees her, recognizes her, and is very glad to see her, saying that things have descended since she left. And she tells Ajla about the things that Gilrican has been getting up to in his tower, being more isolated, will have people come to him and pay them in strange coin. The weight is true. The weight is true, but it's still strange coin. They melt it down. He shows us one of those coins that was not melted down, but he handles it with some sort of covering on his hand. Like, he will not place it against his bare skin, and he advises us not to do the same. And yeah, it's odd. It looks like an iron that's been mixed in with something else. It's got the dead gray of iron, but then it also has the shine of something else that we don't know what it is. Almost like a mineral. Almost iridescent. And it has excuse me. And it has a strange design to it as well. It's 3 pillars. 3 pillars on its face.
Like looking like the iron pillars.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And Gavros will, after we take a look at it, he will cover it up and hide it away. I keep this so this way I can show folks that we're not completely crazy. This is what he's been getting and giving to us as payment. And then he leans in closer to Ajla to say, he's been getting some of the girls up in his tower. They come back. They're fine. But and he won't say anything else. She'll say, are any of them here? Are any of the people that he's had up at the tower since you've been getting this strange coin? Are they around? Yes. It's night. We can gather a few of them in the morning, and why don't you stay? You stay a spell. You obviously don't want to go to the tower just yet, I'm sure. And she responds in the positive. That is quite true, Gavros. I wish I could say I don't have to do this, but I do. He might have some knowledge that I don't have now, that I need. And anything you can tell me of what he's been doing for the last, well, I haven't been keeping track of how long it's been, because I don't want to. Well, it's been a while, Miss Ajla. He's been a-coming on a strange. It's been long enough. She nods her head. Well... And she looks at Jurek. I think the only thing I can do right now is to fortify with some sleep and some good food and company.
Now about that ale you were telling me about.
Gavros turns a great keg. Do we want...
Lead the way.
Yep. And he sits us down into one of the corners and lets us be once he turns out his biggest mugs of his best ale for us. And the food is simple but delicious. And she's almost, I won't say happy, but content. Still feels a little bit like comfort. The familiar. But she knows that once she has to face the tower and Gilrick and himself, she doesn't know how she's going to feel. Did you want to be... Gavros will say, I have your little cot that you used to stay when you were out too late. Kind of pats her on the shoulders. Having too much fun telling those stories over the mead and the ale. Some may still remember you. It's been a while, but they might still. And they enjoyed your stories, Miss Ajla. Do you want to be in that little room, or do you want to have one of the bigger rooms? I mean, business has been good enough, and there's still space. I think I need something less familiar. At least tonight, Gavros. So, if you don't mind, I will take you up on that offer to have one of the bigger rooms, if that's okay. Yes, that's fine. Ah. And your friend? I'm sorry, you didn't get introduced, sir. I'm Gavros. Sorry, I'm the innkeeper here.
Yeah, Jurek. Ajla tells me you keep a good cellar.
Indeed I do, sir. If you'd like to sit and stay a spell and sample some of what I have, then that's fine. But, yeah.
That sounds fine to me too.
Ajla will put her hand on your shoulder, Jurek, as she gets up from the table. I'm going to get some rest. I do not want to go up to the tower and face Gilrikin with less than my full recovery, shall we say. So, and she gestures up to the room to Gavros. Is it the top floor, I believe? And he nods yes. And then she will head up there he gives her the key.
And I think Jurek, makes a spot for himself by the fire and watches the door and eats, drinks, relaxes.
Gavros will settle you down with some samples, if you'd like to partake. And he'll leave you be, because, again, it's like, business is good, but there's not that many people up or out right now, and he will take his own rest. And when he leaves, Ajla will come come downstairs. And she... No, you think you're facing the fire? Away from the staircase leading to the rooms, you think? Or are you sleeping?
I think Jurek would sit with his back to a wall and, where nothing could come up behind him.
Okay. So basically he's able to see her.
Mm.
And she comes down and she will survey you from the door, kind of with a relaxed position against the frame. And she'll say, "Well, I see we've found ourselves in a nice place here.
You're just what I need."
She nods her head, and you can see from her eyes, her silver gaze, looking at you. "Oh, but didn't you miss me, Jurek? Your friends didn't treat me very well. I said I was Ajla. They didn't believe me."
I think they knew better.
"Yes, evidently."
Well, aren't you going to thank me for getting you out of that situation?
She will come over, tilt her head, and look down at you, sitting in that chair. And it's a pretty sturdy chair. It's like, one of those big, like solid wood chairs. And she'll actually drape herself along the side, sitting on the armrest. "And how would you like me to thank you, Jurek? For saving me. For saving Ajla from your friends." And she kind of teases your hair a little bit with her fingers.
The word thank you would do just fine.
Just that? When was the last time you had company, Jurek? She's still playing with your hair.
I don't see how that's any of your business. Not to mention that shell you're walking around in doesn't belong to you.
For now.
Well, so long as you're not going to burn the place down or start a fight, I think I might get some rest myself. And
Sure you don't want some company?
Oh, I'm sure.
She hasn't had some company in some time either, Jurek.
Like I said, I don't see how that's any of your business.
Well, I'm here. That makes it my business. I told you, it's been quite a long time since I've been able to feel. I can start a fight. Or I can start other things as well.
Well, seeing as I had to get you out of the last fight you tried to start, perhaps you better think on the wisdom of that course of action. And he gets up
If
and
I recall
turns
correctly,
away.
Jurek, I got us out of that fight by ending it.
I was thinking of those friends of mine that had you tied up. How do you think you got out of that one, huh?
They caught me by surprise. That won't happen again.
We'll see.
They didn't believe me when I said that I was Ajla. Why?
Like I said, I think they could tell. They know something about what you are and where you come from.
That old man in the boy's body. He was old. He was able to talk to me. No one's been able to do that before. I could see him in my mind. And he was talking to me in a language that I don't know, but I could understand him. And he had me reliving my memories. Who are these people? Are they people? I don't understand where I am. What is this place?
Well, welcome to the Ironlands.
The Ironlands. Do they know the school here?
Oh, they are the reason we're here and have been for, well, I don't know exactly how long, but a few generations now.
She has the sword still strapped to her back. And she will stand up from where she was draped on the side of the chair. And she will not draw the blade, but she will reach back and just touch it, touch the hilt. I don't remember how long it's been. The people are different and yet the same.
I'm no historian, so I don't know what you expect me to tell you. Seems to me like you best let Ajla take control for a while, and we can see what we can find out. And then maybe I can enlighten you.
Fine. But don't think that you're going to get away so easily, Jurek. If you are tied to this Ajla for some reason, you will find that you are more, well, trapped. than I ever was in this blade. And she reaches back and touches the hilt again. Enjoy your rest, Jurek. And she will lean down and give you a kiss on the forehead. You're missing out. And then she'll head back upstairs.
Is that a good place to leave off?
Yeah. I think so.
Great.
Stars, wishes. Got a lot done, I swear to God.
We did, yeah.
That was nice. That was really cool.
Yeah, I think stars that we just like hit a lot of the stuff that we've been discussing through the week and tied it in well, and it made sense. And I'm tempted. I'm tempted to wish for some more complications to get thrown away. I know because we only we did so many strong hits this session. It was kind of ridiculous, but
I mean, now you mentioned it, so now we're just gonna be flubbing all of them next time. Wouldn't surprise me.
Yeah, next time we'll get into a combat and it'll go badly,
horribly wrong. So I mean, well, it depends on how complicated you want to get, because now we have the possibility of the Iron Priest getting into the biz, and Vess isn't gonna stop, and so Ajla is dealing with a lot of crap in her own head right now on the prospect of seeing Gilrick again. That's going to be an interesting prep in my head. So, because I guarantee you, regardless of dealing with the complication of Gilrick and dealing with the Iron Priest and some sort of weird dabbling shenanigans going on, there will be a point where Gilrick is going to want to speak with you alone. So that's going to be an interesting conversation. So that's my wish, to be included next time if we get there.
Yeah, that will be interesting. Yeah. Yeah, no, I thought that was a pretty good session. I'm keen to figure out, like, a wish is like figuring out how to tie back in the Iron Pact and the Iron Priest again, and like bring some, because there was a lot of kind of journey and interpersonal stuff this time, so next time maybe some conflict and start to churn up that plot a little bit.
Oh,
and we'll
yeah.
have to, yeah.
No, I mean, there's just a lot, because, again, depending on how we want to interpret it, and now that also means trying to go back to session 0, which, like, the thing about a session 0, and like, I don't want to hear your thoughts on this, is like, when I finally get to editing these episodes, I'm wondering if it wouldn't be a bad idea to actually include session 0 at the end of a season. I don't know, but like, rather than put it first.
Yeah, that's.
I mean, like, just put it at the end, so this way it's like, we go through the thing that we're going through from 1 to whenever, and then decide to put session 0 at the end of that.
Or even like after the first episode or something like that. Or
you think? I mean, again,
I don't know.
Yeah. Because we can talk about, we talked about how we wanted to build the world, but the interesting part is, like, when it comes right down to it, just like anything else, when you build the world, it really doesn't matter until your characters actually interact with it.
Right, totally, yeah.
So that's one of the reasons why I want to include session 0 more towards the end of something, to contrast, the world that was built versus the world that they're actually dealing with. So I think it would be an interesting contrast instead
Yeah,
of like,
right. Because
okay, we thought we started here, but then we're really ending up over there. That's what it feels like. So, I mean, stars for coming up with like the beginning and the flashback and being able to allow me to build off of that as well. Like, you know, when you're having the conversation with Isru, I mean, again, when I improv, it's pretty much like something comes out and I have to rewatch to remember what the hell I said. So
yeah, yeah, and just like trying to know how much. Yeah, I was pretty pleased with how we established that bond with Isru, and
I mean, was
there
that
was enough
okay? I mean, like,
background
you
there.
know, did you
Yeah,
think
yeah,
that it
yeah.
was too far off the beam?
No, not at all. No, and
Okay, good.
like, yeah, it was just right, just the right amount. I think it was
Good.
not not like a ton of backstory, but enough to just establish what we needed to establish, which is just right.
Yeah. And I mean, eventually, I mean, I don't know if you're going to include this in a future flashback or what have you, but, you know, knowing their names,
Mm,
like what they've been named, to make a difference in terms of, like, not only why they were named those things, but also to lead up to the present, right? I mean,
yeah.
what is your conception of Jurek, the hawk?
You want me to say now, or you want me
No,
to?
no, no, no. I want you to think about
Yeah.
it. I
No,
want you
I
to.
think I have a pretty clear picture, and I think he was quite different to how he is now.
Yeah,
What
that's
he
what I
was.
mean. I mean, like, you know,
Yeah.
there was a point where he was named for a reason,
Mm,
but then now he has it for a different reason.
mm,
Like, I think he's still carrying that. And whether you think that Jurek is continuing on but maturing or holding on and being stubborn about it, that's up to you. So, and
yeah.
I think Ajla just has some
Yeah.
issues. So, it's fine. It's all fine. Um, but yeah, no, I think this is a very good session today, and I think we
Yeah.
got through some decent moves. I didn't think we were going to. I thought we were just going to like pretty much
Right.
RP
Because the
this whole
first
session.
hour was kind of
Well,
yeah.
yeah, that was intense because it was like
Mm.
I don't think we're going to roll today. And then we ended up rolling, but it was fine. No, I was like it was really
Yeah.
good. I mean, for what we did was really interesting. So yeah, I you know I'm getting the hang of it. I'm starting to enjoy myself. The progress tracks thing is still kind of confusing because it's like, do you mark this one or you don't? I mean, like, you know, how do you add one and all this kind of stuff. So that's
It
still a
is
little
kind
bit
of tricky
funky.
when, yeah, it is a little bit funky. I think when you have like a vow track that is kind of effectively to get somewhere, like you vow to get somewhere. So then you've got like a journey and a vow pointing to the same thing.
Yeah.
I think maybe that's like a bit of a, it just confuses two things at the same time. So maybe we should, yeah, I'll give that more thought next time before doing that in
Well,
future.
also too the clarification of it. I mean, like, you know, let's see. Hold on a second. Okay, why am I marking it there? That's weird. Okay, so you're marking it not on the progress tracks page, but you're marking it under your character
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
playbook. Okay,
exactly.
got it.
Yeah, yeah.
Hold on.
For the
Did I even
vows,
do that?
anyway. Yeah, the progress tracks I'm kind of using as like the more temporary ones.
Okay, hold on.
I think I updated your ones a couple of
Oh,
times.
did you? Okay, good. I mean,
Yeah.
so long as
Oh, and
somebody's
speaking of
watching.
which,
Yeah.
I should clear that off now, right? Because it's,
I guess we both have to, right? Because I mean,
yeah,
we're
that second one
safely to
because they're,
Rimerun. It's just like, what do we do
yep,
now?
it's done.
Okay, that's fine. All right.
So I'm gonna I'll reset that one.
because we already rolled on it, so it's like,
Yeah.
let me just bring
Yeah,
that
that was a
down.
complete. So did you mark the 1 XP at the bottom as well?
Oh, no, I didn't. Hold on, where's that?
Yeah,
Yeah,
right.
where is
All
that?
pretty much all the way at the bottom.
Feeling silly. See
It's
it?
right all the way down the bottom.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I have to pick something, I guess. I don't know what. I don't, right? Because I mean, like
It's
it
just one,
takes
yeah.
it.
Yeah, it's
Well,
just
it
one.
just it takes 2 to upgrade, and it takes 3 to actually add 1. Yeah.
Correct. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So I'm going to decide whether I'm going to upgrade or save it for future.
Okay.
Take a look at what the options are.
Yeah. Well, I mean, yeah. And what's even worse, is the fact that I don't. I mean, it would definitely be Ajla. I'm sure, but I mean, I guess Vess wouldn't grow per se and get experience
Yeah,
because
I was wondering what we're going to do about that. Yeah.
yeah, you know what? I mean, like it makes sense that she wouldn't because like she's only really there when
Mm,
Ajla's unconscious. Now, again, if we get to a situation where it's really bad, pay the price, and maybe she stays, she stays in control for longer because something
yeah.
happened to Ajla, then that could be a situation where fine, then that's where she would earn the experience.
Right.
Um,
Right. Right.
because she's navigating in this world, which is removed from what she remembers.
Yeah.
So that's going to be a hilarious situation. So, yeah. I'm going to put this down in the random table thing. This stays in control for longer as a possibility. Okay. Alrighty. So that was
Okay.
awesome.
Yeah. I don't
And
think there's any other housekeeping. We've marked your XP. We've done the
I
bonds and
don't think
stuff.
so. I
I
mean,
think we're good. Yeah.
because we've reached Rimerun, so I mean, like, it's not like we can do anything else in terms of journeying until we find out and consult the lore keeper and all this other
Yes,
stuff.
that's the
So,
next step, right? Yeah.
yeah.
And that may
So,
involve like a new vow to do something else on
yeah. I
this.
mean,
Yeah.
well,
Side
you've
quest.
got to think about it. I mean, like, like
Yeah.
Jurek has to think about it. Like, okay, so he fulfilled that part. Fantastic. Now what? you
Mm-hmm,
know?
mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Um, yeah. And she wouldn't blame you. Ajla would not blame you at all if you decided, well, fuck this. I'm just gonna shove off. You know?
Oh, I think he's yeah. No, that's not going to happen. But yeah,
Just
but
saying.
yeah, it's got to be on the table, right? Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So we're ending this, and then I will see you on Saturday
You
for
will.
something
Yeah.
just as fantastic, but like a lot more calm, I guess. Do you know who you're playing yet? Just out of curiosity.
I have not had a chance to look yet, no, but I
Yeah,
will.
that's okay. I haven't popped out the character keeper yet to clear it from last time, and then to be able to like give us the choice of who we're gonna play. So because
Yeah.
then we have to go through the questions again about like okay, it's like set up the world building and all this other crap. Um,
Yeah, we can probably make it quite different. Yeah. Yeah.
yeah, no, that's the goal. That is the goal. I mean, like
Mm-hmm.
each one of us will get a different question than what we got last time. All right, so I'm
Yep.
going to stop the recording and then we're gonna sign off. Oop, yes, stop recording.